Hello guys, so another video. Today is Saturday morning, it's my day off, for you maybe another day. What does it matter? It matters that in your day off you decide to do an oil change on your car and you think, oh, I left my car resting all night, the oil is nice and low in the pan. I just take out the oil drain and voila. And yes, that is true in part, but remember this: if you let the oil cold on your oil pan, it will deposit itself on the floor of the pan. In my Alfa 75 video, I show you that. So it's very important to drive your car. Yes, drive it for like half an hour. Go take a spin on your car. Take your breakfast, for example, and you want to take your oil hot, so it makes everything inside, and when you take out the oil drain plug, everything comes out uniformly, okay? And also it is hot, so the oil will come out more easily. Also, I want to show you 1 or 2 or 3 tricks how to change your oil on the Alfa 156 with the 16 valve 1.9 liter engine, 140 or 150 horsepower. It's the same, because sometimes you cannot take out all of the oil. I'll show you next. Today we are working here with the 5W40 oil for the engine. I don't follow any specific brand. I just use a good quality oil that meets all the specifications that I require. So a good 5W40 synthetic oil. What is really necessary and crucial is your oil filter. The oil filter must be a very good quality oil filter. I only use original filters on my oil filter. It is very important for me. I also will change my air filter, and I will try to explain how the best way to exchange this filter, this air filter. For the next week, let me give you just a preview here. I also will exchange the fuel filter, again original fuel filter, and the cabin air filters as well. Filter is right here, and these two pipes here, these two tubes, what are they for? Well, these cars have a coolant, oil coolant, air to oil coolant, and the oil only passes for these pipes when the thermostat in here opens. Now, wouldn't it be cool to replace this oil as well? Yes, and that's exactly what we are doing as well on this oil change. I always do this on these cars. Just for your information, it gives you an additional half a liter or more of oil changing. So when you are thinking of your oil filter and your oil, you cannot take out this oil unless you do this. Now, to take out this oil plug, sometimes it's difficult to remove it because it's a X bolt on the inside here. What you want to do first is to hammer it with a big hammer, big weight hammer, and then with a very short, like this, take it out. If it is too long of a wrench, you will bend your wrench, or you can damage your plug. Now, to take it off, be careful because it is very hot. Now, for the oil filter, not much to tell unless you have some special oil filter. What I recommend you to do is to take out the oil filter before you take out your engine oil. Now, I did not do this on this car because I can take it out at the same time. That is because sometimes you take out your oil, engine oil out, and you put your plug, and only then you put your your oil filter. That is very bad, because when you are taking out your oil filter, you are opening up. What do I mean is, when you are taking out the oil filter, you are also taking out a lot more oil through your oil sump. Let's take out the oil filter. Now, when I talk about this oil cooler, I already do this technique for basically the age of the car. Many of you may say you should not take out all of the oil of your car, it will damage it. In part, you are right. Some cars, some engines don't like to basically on the steel pressed oil sumps, you cannot take out all of the oil. You always end up with half a liter or 3/4 of a liter on the inside. So what about this oil cooler here? Let's talk about this a little, because there are a lot of controversy should you take out all of the oil of the oil pan? Should you take out these oil cooler lines and drain it? Yes and no. Okay, so why is that? On some cases you should not take out all of the oil, and that is true. For the cars that have a timing chain inside of a belt, if you take out all of the oil, you run the risk of taking out the pressure of the hydraulic tensioners of the chain. That is not the case for this car. Even though you have a aluminium oil sump, you always take out all of the oil. Whether it be for 5 minutes or 1 hour, you always take out all of the oil. Yes, in this case here, if you take out this oil here, it does not matter for the engine at the first minutes of running, because you only have oil running from here through here when this thermostat here opens. So it does not matter if you take out the oil here or not. You put your 4.5 liters on your engine, you run it for a little while, go for a spin, and when you are seeing the level of the oil, it's missing half a liter. That is because this thermostat here opened and the oil ran through these lines, and thus the oil level dropped a little bit. So this engine, this circuit here, actually levels with 5 liters or more of oil. Now I usually let this drain for a few minutes until it's just dripping. Now I will drain this for a few minutes. Just let it drip. It has a lot of oil, you'll be amazed. Take care of these O-rings, make sure they are good, and just let it drain. Let it all drain. This engine, you can do that. So to tighten these two hoses here, you don't need to tighten these screws a lot, because the sealing is made by the O-ring, not by the tightening of the screws. Okay, you don't need a lot. Just like this. On the filter itself, the same thing. You don't need, not the same thing, but you don't need a lot of tightening on the filter. Just enough so it doesn't fall off. Okay, like this. A little bit more. Okay, it's good. And the drain plug. Make sure to put a new washer in there. Make sure it doesn't have any sand or debris, and put it in there. Again, you don't need to tighten this a lot. With the heat, it will tighten itself, but Okay, enough. Around 30 Newton meters, around that. On a drain plug, you make sure to have a new sealant ring. It has to be that special crush ring that has the rubber inside. The tightness is around the 30 Newton meters, and it's okay. So we are done. At this point, it's a good idea to see if you have any leaks, any torn boots, for example, for the drive shafts. See if the rims are bent. Just spin your wheel, and I can see where it is. A little in here, I think. I have here something. When I change my tires, I will take care of it. On this side, I think I have something as well. Also, I see I am developing here a humidity. I think it's gearbox oil. At last, after 15 years, I think I have here a leak. This lower intake pipe for the intercooler. This is normal to have humidity, oil humidity. It's just like this from factory, but it's not okay. Is that moisture over there? That pipe is really it's very hard and brittle, and the oil escapes from it. But it's not terribly bad. I don't have any AC leaks. I don't have water antifreeze leaks, not yet. And everything seems okay. Okay, time to put the new oil in. No special. I don't use a funnel. I have sort of good aim, but I have a trick. You don't want to put your oil like this. You want to turn your bottle almost all the way up, so the air goes from this way, and you don't have that spills, that glunk, glunk, glunk. Look at that. And I will put the 5 liters inside. I know for sure this engine with this kind of oil change that I do, it uses all the whole 5 liters from the bottle. Oh, the wind. The next phase is to start your engine, right? Yes, but wait for it, because as I told you in the beginning of the video, we took out all of the oil of the engine, and the oil pump is now empty. If you want to bleed the system, so to speak, engine oil, I'm sorry, you must do two things. Disconnect your RPM sensor. If you only disconnect this one, it may still turn on because of the trial and error of the ECU to start your engine. I recommend you to disconnect really the RPM sensor behind the engine. And also, if you remember on my video about the glow plugs, yes, the glow plugs. If you have some bad glow plugs, now is the time to take off the glow plugs, and in this way, turn on the engine. Rotate your engine with your starter. Rotate it for about 10 to 15 seconds, 20 seconds, to purge the oil inside the oil pump and everything. If you do just a start without the engine starting, you still have compression, and that compression without oil will damage the bearing caps. It is at the start of the engine that the wear is most important factor. So if you take out the compression from the start, it will be far less dangerous for the engine. So take out the glow plugs or the injectors or whatever you want to take out. Switch out not this one, but the sensor for the RPM, and 10 to 15 seconds, turn all again, new glow plugs if you want to do that job. New glow plugs and turn on again the engine, and voila, the engine is LED, everything is cool. Another thing, for the Alfa 159 and the Giulietta and some other cars more recent, the first time you turn on the engine after changing the oil, it will appear, always will appear, a message on the body computer that says that your oil pressure is low. Because he is expecting a certain amount of oil pressure in a few seconds, and that pressure is not there, of course, okay? So it's normal to appear only the first time you turn on the engine on the Alfa 159 Giuliettas, the diesel ones at least, the message of low pressure oil. Now, to disassemble the air filter, to reach the air filter, you have to take out this pipe here, this cover, the support for the relays, and it's all very easy to do, but it has its secrets. To take out this hose clamp, for example, you just need a very small screwdriver, put it in the hole, and voila. Next, you want to pull out the pipe. Be very careful. Be very careful. Take it out. On the side of the turbo, you want to, with a big, not a small rag, a big rag, cover the intake like this. If it is too small, it can fall in and you don't see it. On the relay holders, what you want to do is to put your finger behind the support, the holder, push in with your finger, and up. And the support will come up without breaking the support, like this. See, you have to push in this part, or with the screwdriver behind there. I'm used to do this with my finger. You can do it with the screwdriver. Look, can you see? It's almost out. Grab hold of all of your relay holders and put them to the side, like this. The next thing you want to do, you don't need to take out this rubber boot here. You don't need to take out the airflow meter. So you don't need to take out these three 10mm nuts. You just want to take out the plug and the 7mm here, in there, and on the other side. On there. Okay. Now, when you pull up this top part, you don't want the air filter to be attached to this cover. Sometimes it does that. It's easier to let the air filter on the box. Pull this up, and you can take out this plug. I usually do that to see if it is any corrosion, anything wrong with it. And but you can leave it on and put it to the side. Now the air filter, you can pull it up and see, okay, it's ready to be replaced. Now the next part is very important. It is the reason why these airflow meters get damaged so much. When you are exchanging your air filter, you absolutely need to clean the airbox. Because you have to realize something. When you are taking out the old air filter, sand and debris fall into this box. If you see on the center, it's full of, let me see if I can get closer. It's full of sand and debris that fell off while I was taking off the air filter. And that is so important. Why? Unlike the Alfa 159, this air filter is hollow on the middle. It sucks the outside air by the outside, and the clean air comes from the inside to the mass flow sensor and to the intake, of course. When you are taking off this air filter, sand and debris fall in the middle, and when you turn on your engine with a new filter, that sand and debris will be sucked up by the engine and by the airflow meter. So you have to clean very, very, very well your airbox. In that way, it is also very important that the sides, the outside parts on this top side here of the airbox, it's very clean. Because when you are putting in the new air filter in the top part, sand may still fall it's in the center part of you have to clean this as well, on the center part of the air filter, and when you are turning on your engine, you are sucking the dust by the airflow meter. That is not good for the airflow meter or for your engine for that matter. Now your filter may be a very tight fit when it is new, and you want to help it with some kind of, this is Vaseline, I think. I'm sure of it, of course. And make sure everything is smooth. The fitting must be exact with this point here. So make sure everything is lined up and correct. Much better. It was really just a matter of in place. Now the 3 bolts, 3 screws. On the older models you have a millimetric screw, and you have the bush inside the air filter, the airbox. That system was not very good, as you may know, so they changed it to this. The airbox is different, and you now have this screw type fittings. It's done. I tighten it just enough. I don't know if you have this notion, but Alfa Romeo does this alteration of parts very frequently. When they detect a problem, they tend to solve it very well. That is true with this airbox, that is true with that EGR valve. We get to there in another video. But I think, despite all of this, Alfa Romeo still tries to be better. I know a lot of brands that just, okay, the car is out of production, what the hell, we don't care. But not with this brand. This brand still cares, okay? I will do a video about that. I will list a bunch of facts of actual problems that Alfa Romeo solved very well indeed. But that is for another video. Now let's put this relay holders on this place. It's very easy. Just try to bend it again on the other way. That one did not click, but no problem. Okay, you just want to push it in and down. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward. And again. Okay. Now in the next part I see here a problem that is caused by the people who work on the cars. I'm putting here some more Vaseline on this top hose. Sometimes, only sometimes, okay, people don't understand how this part works, and they just throw it in the trash, and they use those clamps you can tight with your 7mm or 6. That is very bad. That is really very bad, because you are tightening on plastic. What happens when you tighten a lot this plastic is this part here becomes to shrink, and if it shrinks, air can escape by this pipe, and you have a non-measure intake, and you have problems on your car, and you change everything, and you don't know what's the problem, and the problem is you don't use the proper parts. Okay, it's very important to do things the way it's supposed to do. It's supposed to be. To put in the pipe, you want to follow some rules. The clamp must be on this place. In here, on this rubber tube, you want to hold the tube up and push this pipe down. Okay, so you don't damage this tube. Now you want to make sure this pipe here is correctly positioned. Sometimes it's very to this side, and it. I'm sorry about the bike. And the pipe actually scrapes on some parts and creates holes. And those holes are non-measured air that enters the engine. Okay? Make sure it is on the right place. It's kind of crooked, but at the same time, it's centered with everything. It's very interesting. Now, what I use sometimes, on my shop, I have some special pliers for this. Here on my house, I have this, for example, or this. They work almost the same. It's a matter of space. And what you want to do, let me see if I can do this with just one hand. On this position, it's not easy to put my support for the camera. Let me see if I can do this. And close my arm. Let me see this way, if you can see better. Okay, so simple. Now, the idea is you can use this type of clamps, and you can use whatever you want. But you cannot over-tighten this, because this plastic part here will start to crumple, and the air starts to come in without being measured. That is the main danger. Now, you have to see if the part does not rub on anything. It's perfect, so we can finish the job. It's almost there. Just one last thing, guys. I'm mounting here the underside of the car. This is very boring to you to see on the video, but I am doing here something that I do for a long time. This zip tie here is to help my under tray to not scrape the ground so much. But you may say, oh, but this moves the gearbox in the engine. It moves with the working of the engine, this shutting off and turning on. Yes, it does. And this is exactly why I like to have here this zip tie. Now, if you have too much movement on your engine and gearbox assembly, you may have a problem with your engine mounts. And if you have problems with your engine mounts, you may have problems with your flywheel. And again, if you have problems with your flywheel, the first thing you want to do is to see if the intake valve is working, the shut-off valve. It is very important. So this zip tie here is almost like a fuse. If it breaks, it is really tight. If it breaks, it's maybe because you have problems on your what I just tell you. So this is not just for pushing up the under tray. The undercover is more like to see if I have problems developing on my engine. That's it. I hope you like it. Please consider subscribe, share with your friends, and hit the like button. Bye.